Hey friends, Matt here with another Lo-Fi tutorial. Today I'm going to show you how to make Lo-Fi with samples, and we're going to be slicing it up in SliceX. That is a native VST to Fruity Loops. It gets kind of convoluted, so just stick with me and I'll show you how to do it. So we're going to bring the sample in. I know it's around 60 BPM, so I'm going to type that in. The sample is Harry Beckett Changes Are Still Happening. So I changed the tempo to 60. What I did was I played it outside in the YouTube player, and then I tapped the beat with the tap function. And it just so happened to be around 60. We're gonna see if that is true or not. Apologize if I sound a little sick. I definitely got Wook flu at a 3-day music festival that I was at. So anyway, here we go. Keep your metronome on for this. And another thing that I like to do is to see we are in track 1 right now. So if you could just drag this, and you could see the tips of the waveforms, and typically that is where your beats are, so you could kind of match it up and slide it into the bars here. So let's see where we're at. Actually, it actually kind of sounds like perfect. So it is still a little off, and you have a couple options here. One, you could stretch the waveform. You could click stretch and kind of stretch it to match, or you could change your tempo as you go to what you think it might be, and then slide the waveform so it matches up with the bars and the beat, and that's what I'm going to do here. All right. So I messed around with it a little bit. I got 61 BPM. It's somewhere around there. Close enough for me. So what I want to do now, I don't want our song to be at 61 though. It's kind of slow. I kind of like it more around like 80 or 90 for lo-fi. So what we're going to do is you're going to double click your waveform, just go to mode and stretch, and watch what that's going to do. So see how it sped up our sample, but it also kept it in pitch. That's really helpful to have. Without that, your pitch would be all over the place, or your project tempo would change, and your sample would stay like that. So always remember to do that. Mode, stretch, and you're taken care of. And you could adjust this to whatever you want. So I'm going to do... Actually, you know what? Let's do 80. Now here's the problem. We could slice this up manually right now, or we could use SliceX, which I like to do because then you could kind of play it as if it's an instrument. The problem is, when you drag this sample into SliceX, it's just going to be the sample unedited. In other words, it's still going to be at the 61 BPM that it originally was, and it's not going to transfer over to your project. So it's kind of convoluted, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to render this quick, and it's going to render at 80 BPM, and then we're going to come back, and then I'm going to put it into SliceX, and then we're going to mess around with it. So I will be right back. All right, guys, we're back, and here is our sample. We rendered it from our adjusted 80 BPM sample, and here it is. Now we could add that to SliceX, and it won't go back to its original BPM. So now all you have to do for SliceX is you're going to go to your sample waveform, click it in your channel rack, drag and drop the waveform into SliceX, and there you go. So as you can see, it's still the correct BPM. So now what we're going to do is we're going to start adding markers, and then we could play this as if it was an instrument on our keyboard here. So once you start adding markers, it'll correspond to your keyboard. So you'll have, I think it starts on C5. Yeah, so C5, C sharp 5, D5, D sharp 5. And it'll go on, etc., etc. So an important thing to do when you're making slices like this and cutting up a sample is you're going to want to start where an instrument hits, not necessarily in the middle of the bar, but okay, let's see, like right here. And you can see it in the waveform, and that's really helpful. You could see it visually. This is where it gets difficult because you kind of want to have maybe something in your head as you're doing this. just so you kind of have an idea. Or you could just be like me. I literally just add markers around places where beats start. So like let's say right here. Okay, so an instrument starts right here. You have an instrument hit, it's first beat. So we're going to add a marker. We'll just call it 1. It doesn't really matter. So this could get kind of tedious, and you know, that's comes along with sampling though. I mean, like I said, it could be easy, and I could have just took this and put a beat over it and called it a day, and then put some like rain effect or like vinyl effect over it. But in order to really differentiate yourself, you're going to want to do stuff like this because it's going to make your song stand out and it's going to sound better. I don't know if this is going to sound that good, but we'll see. I like the sample, so we'll go with it. So I'm going to mess around with this for a little while, and then I will be back, and I will show you what we're going to do next after we add all these markers. All right, so now I got my slices here. I only made about 10 of them. I accidentally named that 189. Whatever, it's fine. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a beat that I could just kind of freestyle this SliceX over. Because remember, we could play SliceX with the keys. So see how it's playing each segment? So each key I hit corresponds to each marker that I made. So I really don't have any kind of thing in mind as far as the melody. So what I really like to do, if that's the case, is I will just make a beat, some kind of just generic lo-fi beat. Let me bring together my sounds that I want. Gotta have the Dilla snare. So we'll fill each 2 steps. Always remember when you make hi-hats, you should always velocity them. Just gives it more bounce, I guess. Could layer snares too. So now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to freestyle. And you can see I have SliceX selected right here. This is our SliceX in our channel rack. I'll see if I can make something sound not totally trash. Alright guys, so after a lot of messing around with SliceX, I got this. I tried to make it sound as good as I could. I'm not too great with samples, but here it is. I thought that was a pretty cool, I thought that was a pretty cool 4-bar loop there. And we're just going to put it over a beat that we were using earlier. And here we go. And I put like little drum breaks in here and stuff. Alright, so one more very important thing that I want to show you is sidechaining your instrumental, and in this case our chopped up sample. So as you can see, I have everything dedicated to a channel. I'm kind of sloppy here. I'm going to get rid of that. So right here, number 11 is our sample track. So we have that, and on number 1 is our kick. So we're going to have to remember that. So go to an empty channel. I'm just going to pick 10 because it's easy. We're going to color it red so we can see it, and we're going to call it peak bus. This will be our peak controller bus. Now in this, we're going to add our Fruity Peak controller. Then go to your kick channel, sidechain that to your peak bus channel. Then go to your instrumental channel, in this case our chopped up sample channel. Right click the volume controller and then go to link to controller. Put that in your peak controller. So see, Fruity Peak controller, peak bus. I actually have 2 open there, but anyway. Set your internal controller to your peak controller in channel 10. Invert it in your mapping formula and hit accept. What this is going to do is every single time the kick hits, it's going to drop this, and what it does is it makes our sample seem like it's part of the song rather than just sitting on top of the beat, if that makes sense. And I'll show you the difference here. You can really hear it. So our bass right here, this controls the volume. because it's going to change. You can't control this knob because the Fruity P controller now controls the volume. So you have to control your volume with this. So let me show you what that is like. See how the kick kind of mutes it? I really like how it sounds, and you have so much control over it. See, you could adjust the tension so it basically mutes it. You could reverse it. Decay so it could stay down there longer. Not sure why you really want that, but I mean, I might be going a little overboard with it, but it definitely helps to have it. So anyway, yeah, there you go. I mean, really quick and simple. That is how you could mess with samples in Fruity Loops to make lo-fi. So basically, again, guys, you're going to drag your sample into SliceX. You're going to put your markers in where instruments are hitting and where you can make little loops. And then, like we did here, make your beat. Then just kind of freestyle over it till it sounds good. Go into your piano roll for your SliceX, and then just kind of mess around with it until you get what you want. So anyway, I'll play this on the way out so you could hear it. Nothing too difficult. I hope this helps some people, and I will see you in the next video. Peace out.